Hello, everybody. Hopefully everybody's having a good weekend. And if you can like and share the stream so we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be appreciated. Um, anyways, we are just sitting around waiting to see who else might show up here. Let me see. Before we get started. Oh, now we got two people. Hello. Hopefully you're having a good day today. We're just kind of giving people a chance to get in here before we get started. Um, anyways, always, if you can like and share the stream so we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be appreciated. Oh, we have three. Okay. Anyway. All right. All right. So we got three people in here now, it looks like. Let's see. I guess I can go ahead and at least talk a little bit about what's on tap for tonight. So we have five, six rather, comic stories tonight, all from Bounding into Comics. They're all comics related. So, let's see. Among those stories include stories that were covered that I know came out more over the weekend. I know Yellow Flash covered the first one we're going to be talking. The Image Comics employees calling for the union were dropped from office credits of Hellcat, so we'll be looking at that. As an indie comic artist who shares some Godzilla sketches, first English language trailer for the live action adaptation of the Awakener, and I believe the Awakener might be one of the comics that's been done by Arkhaven, I believe. I think it's one of the comics that they've been doing on their ArcTunes site. Mike Barron explains his pro police graphic novel, and as well as he was on Fox News over the weekend. Also, Marvel and Donny Cates double down on their retcon of Thor's hammer, and of course, Disney CEO chimes into um, Disney's unique ability to impact culture. So that's all that's on tap for tonight in terms of the stories. At six comic related stories. We'll probably get started here in a few moments here. So, anyways, I hope everybody's doing well tonight. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Probably starting just under 30 seconds here. We'll get into the stories. I should probably share that now. Right. Today. Oh yeah. Okay. So I kind of goofed there. Let's see now. Oh, yeah. I think I just hit. Looked like I just hit the wrong button. I guess. All right. So there we go. All right. So hopefully everybody's having a good time tonight here. Hey, Diana, thank you for coming. Hi, Mike. I am multitasking but listening. All right. Well, thank you for acknowledging. If you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, that'd be appreciated to help get the word out. Um, so thank you for that. Um, anyways, I know I did have 3 people in here apparently, but now it's coming back up the count. Yeah. So, anyways, we got let's see. We're at 6 minutes now. We got some people in here, so I'm gonna go ahead and start talking about these stories, and hopefully. So I know this first story I'm gonna cover. I know Yellow Flash did a video on as well last Friday here, and this goes back a few months. So all right. So here's the headline: Names of Image Comics employees calling for union drop from office credits of Hellcop, reportedly at specific request of VP Jim Valentino. All right, so this article was written by Spencer McCooley, published this past Friday. All right, so for those of you who may not know this, about a couple months back, there was a set of just did okay. Thank you, Diana. All right, yeah. So, a couple months ago, there was a story that came out where some employees at Image Comics had decided to form a union, and they had a list of demands. In fact, one of the more you know kind of ridiculous one of the more ridiculous demands that they had on there was that was talked about quite a bit was they wanted kind of personnel and creative control over who could actually publish books um, at Image Comics. So basically, if they found that the person engaged in what they believe was wrong, think they say no, you're not. We're not going to allow you to. They wanted that power. That was one of the big stories. So now, now their union apparently was recently voted to be um, acknowledged. So, but as Yellow Flash reported last Friday, I guess those involved in forming that union have now been there. They've basically been dropped from the office credits of Hellcop. So let's take a look at this story here. The names of the 10 employees attempting to unionize Image Comics have been dropped from the office credits page of the most recent issue of Hellcop, reportedly at the specific request of the publisher's co-founder and Shadowline imprint creator, Jim Valentino. Right. So I don't know if Flash had mentioned that it was him who specifically requested it. I think when Flash did his video, I don't know if it was known yet at whose specific request, but I guess we now get so Hellcat, I guess Brian Haberlin, um, in Gerard Van Dyke, issue 2, 899. So Hellcat Volume 1, Number 2, Come Hell or High Water, 2021. Image comments, variant cover art by Brian Haberlin and Gerard Van Dyke. All right. So as seen when comparing the respective issues, removal of these employees' names from the office credits took place between the second and third entries of the Brian Haberlin created Shadowline produced series, published on December 1st, 2021. So basically a little over a month ago here. The names of 10 employees: Emilio Batista, Ryan Brewer, Leanna Conter, Maria Isaac, Ezek, Drew Fitzgerald, Melissa Gifford, Chloe Ramos, Trisha Ramos, John Schlafman, and Erica Schnatz um, can be seen in the second issue's office credits buried amongst the long list of Image Comics personnel responsible for bringing the book to life. So they were all in the credits, of course, for the second issue. So now let's see what they're saying here. However, in Hellcop number 3, which hit shelves, and I guess that could be what this is. No, this is still from Volume 1, number 2. And of course, they just highlight they in on those red boxes. I guess those are the names of those who were involved in creating the union. However, in Hellcop number 3, which hit shelves on January 5th, which was, of course, last Wednesday, the previously lengthy office credits were replaced with a smaller listing, noticeably absent the aforementioned employees. Yeah, I mean, first off, yes, there are some things that I believe should be unionized, but I honestly don't really believe that the arts is another one of those. So hey Lorenzo, thank you for being here. If you haven't already, if you can remember to like and share the stream so we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be appreciated. I hope you guys will enjoy the um, content here. We're going over 6 stories tonight, all comics related from Bounding into Comics. First one we're hitting up here is, I guess, what you could call the consequences of those um, who are basically trying to form a union at Image. Um, now, now reaping the reaping the I guess the consequences of their action here. How okay? Yeah, we already read that paragraph there. And this is from, I guess, the list of credits from Hell Cop Volume 1, Number 3, A Cold Day in Hell. Um, Copyright technically 2021, but cover date or on sale date was actually, as we said, last Tuesday. So, yeah. Removal was then brought to widespread attention by former Image Comics production sales and marketing production designer Sasha E. Head, who tweeted that same day, quote, apparently Jim Valentino specifically removed the unionizing members of the Image Comics staff from the Shadowline book Hellcop office credits, unquote. Well, I mean, if he's the one who actually owns that particular imprint, I think he's got a right to do so. And what these people also, and as I said, I don't believe the arts should really, the art should really have unionized workers. It's just I don't think it's as much, you know. I mean, if these people really want editorial control, the level of editorial control they want, they can go off and buy. They can go off and start their own company. I mean, I even commented on Flash's stream that that maybe Image should just consider firing these people and tell them to go start up their own comic book company. Okay. Quote unquote, it may fully be his right, she added. Quote, but I still think it's cruel and perhaps reveals a little bit of something about old boy culture in comics. Unquote. Well, the thing is, the problem that she's not seeing though here is they're not just forming a union to just protect protect the workers' rights and all that. Okay, they're basically trying to under the guise of a union, they're trying to take over a comic book company. Okay, they can go off and start up their own comic book company if they want that much editorial control. In a follow up tweet, Head clarified, just to be clear, other folks published at Image do not have the option to do this. This is an action made by a founder of the company specifically as a dig towards his own employees. It's his right, though. It's his right. If you don't want to work under his rules, you can go. You can go off and start your own comic book company, and you can have all the editorial control you want. You can tell. You can go off and make your own company and hire whatever writers and artists you want. Put whatever messages you want in them. Of course, I think part of the reason they don't do this is because they know that their comics aren't going to sell. They know as long as they keep pushing agendas, their books are not going to sell. So rather than go off and try to create their own company, they want to try to take over the company they're already at from within. So, formally debuting on November 1st, the Comic Book Workers United Union are not only seeking improved working and compensation conditions for Image Comics employees, but also wish to be given, quote, a collective voting option to immediately cancel publications of any title whose creators have been found to have engaged in abuse, sexual assault, racism, and xenophobia, homophobia, transphobia, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, ableism, etc., until such time as said creators have engaged in meaningful reparations toward affected persons. So they're basically wanting, I don't think people would have a problem with the union if all they were doing was just focusing on the first part of the paragraph there where they were talking about working and compensation conditions. That's what unions should be doing. Okay, but these people are taking it beyond. They're in essence they're trying to take over the company from within. And if I was the owner, I would fire them. Tell them, hey, go create your own company then. If you want that much editorial control, go create your own company. Hey, RJ. Wait until they try to cancel someone, then go on strike, then picket the printer. Guess what? The AFL-CIO won't cross a picket line. So that tiny minority group will then royally mess up shipping of a boatload of comics. Yeah, but you still can't allow them to, like, as I said, fire them. Let them go picket. Fire them. Tell them, hey, you want editorial control? That much editorial control? Go create your own comic book company. Let them pick it. If they don't have money coming in, how long do you think that picket will last? They go picket the printers, and it may be other companies that suffer as well because of what you were talking about with the shipping and stuff. But but that will likely, if anything, that might get people to turn on the unions actually. But again, fire them, tell them to go create their own company. They want their own, and then if they do picket, Let them picket. Let them picket. See how long that picket lasts when money's not coming in and the real world bites them in the rear. Money not coming in for them while they're picketing. They risk doing harm to them, financially, in in other ways, harm to themselves, harm to their families, um, in many ways, because um, with when money's not coming in, they can't pay their bills, they can't make their house payments. They run the risk of ending up on the street for picketing because money's not coming in. They can't pay their house bills, can't pay their gas and electricity and car payments and all that. Get a lot of their property repossessed. You know, they lose their house, they lose all their everything that they were paying for. You know, money money does money does come in though through the union strike funds. I lived through many a coal miners. Well, yeah, that might be true, RJ. But one, this is a new union. It's not like they probably have a whole lot of. It's not like they have a big bank in that regard to begin with. If you're talking about strike fund, but so this is a pretty new union. They don't have a lot of funds, but that money will still soon run out. And my guess is, even if they did have a bit of a nest egg there, maybe before they started the union, now I doubt very seriously they even thought of that. You know, they thought to like store up some money in the event they did have to go on strike. You know, um, but I'm sure that even with those strike funds, you know, especially with a relatively newly established union, that money's not going to go that far that fast, or that far. Eventually, they will run out of that money, and okay, if they do go on strike at this point, how then would they how then would they be able to pay their dues and be able to contribute into that strike fund? Hmm? How would they be able, money's not coming in from the job, okay? Now, granted, you could also argue, okay, maybe they get maybe they get some kind of government help because they're a union. But again, as we all know, that money is not always as much as you make when you're working, right? You know, having some form of, either job, some form of income coming in, either from working or investments or something like that. Um, that usually will gain you more than just sitting there, taking the government money. So, but eventually, again, let them pick it, let them strike. Don't think it would last too long because again, this is a fairly new union. I don't think they'd have the funds to last long enough to really, I say fire them, tell them to go create their own company. Because this isn't really. I mean, it may be in a small way about improving working income, but this is more about trying to take over a comic book company from within. And I don't think no no company owner would allow that to happen. So, anyways, getting back to the article here, so this is from a book they did called Union, I guess. Union, Volume 1, Number 10, Leaving Home, image from 1995. Image comics cover art by Ryan Benjamin, Tom McWeeny, um, Wilchi Portazio, and Alex Garner. Let's see. So, given the absolute audacity and absurdity of this demand, Cyberfrog creator and Comicsgate icon, oh, now they're calling him an icon, Ethan Van Sciver took delight in word of the unionizers' names being removed. Responding to a fan who found it humorous how those of a similar mindset to the unionizers, quote, never seem to understand how arbitrary that is and how it is abused, unquote. Van Sciver asserted, quote, even funnier, these commie dimwits don't understand that unions only have power when they are comprised of a skilled and vital workforce, unquote. Yeah, and that's another thing too. If they're gonna, as we've seen, whenever you push the hard left agenda, that you usually end up losing money, not gaining it. Unions laugh out loud. Yeah, yeah, well, that's what we're talking about. Well, Chris, I'm sure you had heard about the Image Comics being unionized and all that. So, um, and as always, if you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be appreciated. Um, anyways, as we shall continue on with the story here. Let's see where. Oh yeah. Quote: These pink hairs get coffee and catch spelling errors in house ads. Unquote. He explained. Quote: They're entirely replaceable by non-subversives to the company. Unquote. And I think I think that image executive should do exactly that. Replace these unionizers. What do you make of the names of the Image Comics unionizers being dropped from the office credits? Hellcop, let us know your thought. Well, what I personally think is, I think that the unionizers are idiots. I think the executives should just go ahead and fire them, you know, and tell, hey, you want that much editorial control? Go make your own, go start your own company. Then you can hire and fire whoever you want. But this is, you know, if I was Jim Valentino, I'd be telling them this is my company, or the people at Image. Well, okay, in regards to that imprint, he should tell them, hey, this is my company. Or those who are all involved in the higher, the executives at Image should tell them, this is our company. We're going to run it the way we want. Indeed, laugh out loud. Oh, yeah, here, Hero Shock voted on. Hero Shock voted on. Um, failed 2-0. Indeed, laugh out loud. Anyways, on a Union fell 2-0. Indeed. Yeah. Anyways, it failed. ah. So, anyways, D phone. ah. All right. So let's get ready to move on to the next story then. You know, I think when Flash reported on it last week, of course, he didn't know. I mean, they didn't know who specifically had those names pulled. They just knew that the names were pulled. But here, according to Spencer here. I guess it was the vice president of Image, who's also the founder of of an imprint. So, anyways, moving on to the next. Moving on to the next. Moving on to the next. Next thing here. Next article here. Indie comic artist shares Godzilla sketches made for terminated project. So I guess this was initially a project that was going to be done by somebody that that didn't get finished. Probably that they probably ended for some reason. But I guess the comic artist decided to share some sketches. So this article, of course, by JB Augustine, and it was published this past Friday. So here we go. The list of unmade Godzilla movies is lengthy and historic enough, but we are bereft of one more project. I guess bereft meaning the project's been taken away. A comic that will, fortunately, be taking another form as an original concept. And this from the the visual here is from Shin Godzilla 2016 from Toho Company. Um, right. The artist behind it made a few sketches of Godzilla designs inspired by various cinematic eras, along with one of everybody's favorite flying robot, Jet Jaguar, which is out there on Twitter for all to see. Budding indie comic creator Tristan Jones spread his stunningly detailed work far and wide to take advantage of Godzilla's trending globally, and it was noticed by the Kaiju News Channel and content creators of Dangerville. And I guess here's kind of a copy of the tweet right there. There we go. In his Twitter thread, Jones explained the intended pitch and why Shin Godzilla kept it from going through. Quote, Godzilla is trending, so here's an opportunistic art tweet of art from a Godzilla comic pitch I was invited to put forward, but ultimately decided not to go through with. Unquote. So I guess whoever the company was that was going to do this comic decided to not do it. I think is what he's saying. He wrote. Look at that artwork. This is from Tristan Jones right here. As shown above, he shared two other pieces of his Godzilla artwork as well as one of Jet Jaguar. Here's another look at his Godzilla designs. From Twitter Jones. Here's the third look of art shared of art he shared of Godzilla. Now imagine that thing traipsing through your city. That would be one scary situation. Finally, here's his piece of Jet Jaguar. Wow, Jet Jaguar's got what looks like a skull face there. After sharing his artwork, Jones was asked if his idea was Shin versus another Godzilla from a previous era, but that wasn't the case since he couldn't use the Reiwa relaunch version at all. Um, quote, neither. It was a blank slate Godzilla story, unquote. Jones replied. Quote, I wanted to use the Shin design, but that was a no-no. Basically, any of the designs were allowed. Any of the designs were allowed, but that. So basically, the the Reiwa Shin or the Shin design is the only one that he couldn't really use. So apparently, sucked, but their call. There were other plot points that weren't going to go through, so I just decided to go creator owned, unquote. So, so he may be so almost sounds like what he's indicating here is he may try to do it independently instead of through a publisher, which we could see another Indiegogo Kickstarter campaign coming along here. Let's see now. Hey, Hero Shack, Press, and Critical Blast. Hi, Critical Blast. Yeah. Well, anyways, hope everybody's enjoying the content here. Thus far. Hmm. All right. So, anyways, as we continue on here, he didn't mention Toho, though it stands to reason the call was theirs, which Jones isn't sweating too badly. While he didn't get too specific, he revealed his plans to make the characters his own. Quote, well, for me, all the best Godzilla stories, in my mind, are about the world responding to Godzilla. I can still tell the stories of the characters I created, but I just changed Godzilla into something that's visually my own quote unquote tribute to the beast, he said. So yeah, so basically he's gonna modify it to where it's more his design to where he doesn't have to worry about anybody's previous designs. And I think if he can make, if he has like an original concept through that he can tell that story, then more power to him. So this could be potentially, RJ. I don't know if you're still out there, but this Tristan Jones here may be somebody you may be having on your channel pretty soon. Um, Jones also plans to keep a tribute to Jet Jaguar in his creator owned adaptation when that comes to fruition. His design in the above collection is one of his favorites. Quote, thanks so much. Yeah, I was pretty happy with it. Unquote. He said, quote, I know exactly how I'm going to change it without necessarily losing the wink to those who know JJ when I make it my own. So there's that at least, unquote. Tristan Jones is an independent illustrator and author in Australia who does art and prints of popular IPs such as Alien and Predator. His personal site is still under construction, so it might be a while before there are further updates on his kaiju project. So basically, yeah, as long as it's a kaiju, it's considered more of a genre. He may have his own design for a particular kaiju that nobody else has thought of. So, anyways, as we shall continue on here, let's see. All right. Well, anyways, let's see now where we're at here. All right. What do you think of Jones's drawings? Tell us below, and please be clear if you like Jet. Well, I'll go back up real quick here and show you guys some of his designs here. If you guys want to just take a quick peek at them, see what you guys think. As soon as we can find them, of course. There we go. So this is his tribute to Jet Jaguar. And here are some of his artwork on his version of Godzilla. Mhm. And down one more time before we get ready to move on to the. Like I said, just figured I'd give you guys a couple minutes to look at some of this stuff. And just some of the other tweets. It's actually a scene from, I guess, a Godzilla movie from back in 2016. Okay, so now we prepare to move on to the next story here. Let's see. All right. The 42-minute mark, so at least it seems like we're making some decent time here. And as always, guys, if you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be appreciated. Um, let's see. All right, so moving on to the next story here. This is actually the last of the stories that came out on Friday, I believe. Comic books and movies here. Let's see. So here's the next article we're going to look through. First English language trailer for live action adaptation of The Awakener takes the war to government corruption. Now, as I understand, I believe The Awakener is one of the comics that's been being published by Arkhaven Comics Arctoons, Box Days company. So I believe where this is coming from. So now they have a live action. Now they have a live action adaptation they're getting ready to do here. So let's get into this. So it was published this past Friday, written by John F. Trent. So let's take a look at this article. So, the first English language trailer for the live action adaptation of the Brazilian comic book series, The Awakener, is here, and it takes the war to government corruption. I think it was originally based in Brazil and then brought over by Arkhaven, I believe. Um, The film was originally released back in 2018. The Brazilian. Okay, so this actually. Okay, never mind. This doesn't have anything to do with. I thought I did see this title though in art during one of the Arkhaven reviews, but I guess I was wrong. Which I can be once in a while. The film was originally released back in 2018. The Brazilian production. It was directed by Gustavo Bonafé and Fabio Mendonca, and written by Myrna Nogueira, um, LG Bayayo, and Rodrigo Lages. The movie stars Kiko Pisolato, Tanya Medina, Samuel de Assis, and Carlos Batao. The film's official description on IMDb states a personal tragedy leads a trained agent into a crusade against Brazil's endemic corruption and its figures on the verge of presidential elections. All right. As noted above, the film is based on the Brazilian comic book series of the same name published by. Oh, okay, I think, yeah, actually, I think it was adapted in. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I think actually it was. Okay, correction again. I thought so. I thought I read something about this in one of the previous articles I did. Um, Same name, published by Super Prumo and created by Luciano Cunha. An English language translation of the entire series is available to read for free on ArcTunes. Yeah, I thought so because I remember doing an article, doing one of the review articles for ArcTunes where I think they talked about this very comic. The digital platform describes the series, quote, a federal agent of the Brazilian Special Armed Division. Miguel is a highly trained weapons expert, but after experiencing a traumatic personal loss, he assumes the identity of a mass vigilante, begins a single-minded pursuit of vengeance, unquote. Anyways, the quote, the Awakener deals out justice with his own hands, exterminating the politicians and corrupt businessmen who are preying upon his suffering people, unquote, it adds. And I guess this is from the film The Awakener. As noted in the trailer, the dubbed English version of the film will arrive on January 18th, 2021. So a little over a week away, a week from tomorrow. With the announcement of this new English language dub, Archive and publisher Vox Day announced he will be making available a collector's print edition of the original comic book series by the end of January. So a little promotional work being done by Vox right there. Day posted on his website, quote, the Awakener movie is being released in English on January 18th. It looks as if the dubbed version might be even better than the original Brazilian Portuguese version. Quote, we just found out about it, but we do intend to ensure that the comic will be available in a collector's print edition later this month, he added. Unquote, of course. So here's some. Yes, a new age has come, and it's going to get ugly before it's over. From the Awakener comic book series. What do you make of the trailer of the Awakener? Do you plan on checking it out? Well, I haven't seen the trailer, but ArcTunes has been doing a lot of good work. So, um, hello, everybody. Let's see. Good evening. Hey, toys. As always, guys, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here. That'd be hi all. Hey, Cross comment. Hey, Cross. Hey, Cross and toys. So as always, if you guys haven't already, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to check out the content and all that. That'd be appreciated. And I do appreciate the likes and shares we've had thus far. So as we get ready to move on to the next article here, I hope everybody's enjoying content thus far. And here's a story. And I know he got some national news exposure as well as he was on Fox. This story is revolving around Mike Barron and his Thin Blue Line comic. Mike Barron explains his pro-police Thin Blue Line graphic novel. Graphic novel is a direct response to the 2020 riots. Article by John F. Trent, published actually earlier today. So now we're getting into the stories that were published today. And I did see some of that interview as well. Let's see. All right. All right. Longtime Punisher writer and creator of Nexus, Mike Barron, recently explained that his upcoming pro police graphic novel, Thin Blue Line, is a direct response to the Antifa and Black Lives Matter riots of 2020. Barron appeared on Fox and Friends on Sunday, where he discussed the book. And then, if you guys want this, believe you can find this on. It says right there you can find it on YouTube. Thin Blue Line interview on Fox News. So, in the interview, Barron says, "quote Well, I always say I don't choose my stories. My stories choose me." Unquote. And like every one of you, I was watching television during the long hot summer of 2020 when we saw talking news heads in front of cities that had been burned to the ground explaining they were mostly peaceful riots. Yeah, doesn't that just make you laugh? And then politicians started to cry for defunding the police, unquote. My reaction was, are they insane? Civilization depends on the rule of law, which is true. You are either for the rule of law or not, quote unquote, he asserted. Yeah, just wait until they do find themselves in a city that has defunded its police. All the police are gone, and then they are trying to use social workers to deal with crime. See how that goes for them. I don't think it'll go over well. And also of note, one of his artists here, Joe Arnold, is from what I've heard on numerous occasions, is also a police officer, or is a former police officer. So, now look at that! Look at that artwork. That looks pretty cool. Turning to the graphic novel, Barron says, quote, Now, 20 years ago, a story like this wouldn't raise any eyebrows. But today, in today's hyper politicized environment, it's proven to be quite controversial, unquote. Yes, when you have everybody wanting to defund the police, so they can get away with bad behavior, get away with murder and all that. Hey, Diana. So, let's see. Okay. Um, quote, because there are a lot of people out there who think they can replace the police with social workers. Well, that's not true, unquote. Yeah. Can you just imagine that for a moment? Imagine that for a moment. Okay. You get a call to the whatever they want to call it, social worker station, I guess. You get a domestic violence call. You get a situation where you get a domestic violence call where where one partner has just beat the total what out of the other, right? You send a social worker there to try to deal with the situation, and then what you come to find out is the social worker ends up getting their rear ends handed to them faster than you can say Mississippi, most likely. Whereas if a cop was there, somebody tries to go after a cop, unless they do have a death wish or something like that, you know, cop's gonna probably beat them up. You know, as I said, unless they have a death wish and they're really willing to take that risk. Sending It's like it's kind of similar to the idea of an old saying: "Never send a boy to do a man's job." Right? It's kind of what they'd be doing here. Oh, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. Right. Aaron went on to detail his personal relationship with a number of police officers. Quote, another reason I wrote the book is I know a number of police officers, and the ones I know are dedicated civic individuals who joined the force to make a positive difference in their communities. And I guess it's supposed to, well, maybe supposed to be an unquote there, but quote, we all know there are bad cops, but this isn't about them, unquote, he said. Uh, hey folks, I am headed to bed. Interesting stream, Mike. I finally made. Yeah, I thank you for that, Diana. Hope you'll be able to make more of them. Again, now granted, Monday through Fridays are the ones where we're just doing news stories. We're just going over and I'm giving my own commentary. Fridays are the ones where we go over the historical comic retrospect. But I hope to see you back here soon, and I hope you have a good night and good night's rest. Um, so as we shall continue on, and as always, of course, I do appreciate all the likes and shares, seeing if we can get some more um, friendly people in here to watch and enjoy the content. So, anyways, as we continue on now, let's continue on with the story here. All right. Barron then detailed, quote, the story practically wrote itself. And I have to emphasize, it's not a lecture. It's not didactic. It's pure drama. Quote, you are going to love it. It's a great story. It's going to grab you by the throat on the first page, and you won't be able to put it down until you finish it, unquote, he declared. The Punisher writer then went on to detail that the crowdfunding campaign is also supporting three different police charities, including Adopt a Cop, um, Adopt a Cop bill, um, let's see, National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund, and the National Fallen Officer Foundation. Barron then revealed that the book was rejected by numerous publishers. Of course, because a lot of the mainstream publishers, they're the ones who are pushing the whole defund the police narrative, you know, and of course they don't want to do it because they, even though it's like I don't think they fully understand the ramifications of what they're saying. I think Mike is trying to tell them that. Quote, we submitted it to every major publisher and a number of others. The polite ones just gently passed, but the impolite ones, and they are some of the bigger publishers in the industry, their responses were vulgar and nasty, and we weren't surprised, unquote. And I'm sure he's talking about like publishers like DC and Marvel in there and IDW. name a few. Quote, we didn't expect anybody to pick this book up. We know what the comic industry is like. Comic industry is like any other branch of entertainment. It's split right down the middle. And we did publish a couple of their responses with their names redacted, but we always plan on publishing it ourselves, unquote, he concluded. Yeah. My guess is they ultimately knew they were going to have to probably publish it themselves because none of the I think if they it probably worked out better for him because then he's got full creative control. So that's probably another good, especially if let's say Image picked it up and that union got their way and got their um I mean I'm sure that union at Image would basically no Mike we're not gonna publish that because that 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 thin blue line is racist. It's like that the bull they'd probably pull. Um Night day. Definitely good night. All right. So anyways, um let's see. One publisher, Apex Comics, out of the United Kingdom, insinuated Barron was a racist. Did I just say that? I think I kind of alluded to that right there. Was a racist for the title of the graphic novel. In a comment in a Facebook group, the publisher responded to Barron promoting the campaign, writing, quote, would never support this. It's one thing to show cops, but the blue line has shown itself to be a racist movement that that seeks to protect corrupt cops from justice and supports institutional oh boy. That stupid institutional racism argument again. Ah. The publisher added, quote, naming the book that suggests a lot about the naming the book that suggests a lot about the writer and comic. So big no from me. So I guess this is based on Apex Comics. Now, mind you, this is a comic book company over in the United Kingdom and basically in United Kingdom, the British Isles, however you want to call it. They're basically over in Great Britain there. You know, and granted, why I do know of a few, good British individuals. Obviously, these people at Apex are not. You know, there's another when I think of Apex now, there's another A word that comes to mind that they're acting like here. So, anyways, after implying that Barron is a racist, the publisher posted to their Facebook page claiming they were being harassed. Um, the publisher wrote, so I guess as Barron, I guess Barron must have. This is one of their responses that he must have posted. So maybe that's why they're reacting like this. The publisher wrote, so earlier today, I made a comment on an award-winning DC Comics writer's book that I couldn't support a book about cops brutally beating people. And that's not even what in. And I think if any of you've seen any of the coverage on Thin Blue Line, or if you've seen RJ's RJ's interview with him, if you've seen some of the other interviews like Pop's interview with him and all that, you know that's BS. Okay. Thin Blue Line is not about cops brutally beating people. Apex are a bunch of DAs. And I'm not talking district attorneys either. I'm sure everybody can figure out what I mean by DA here. It has something to do with a very unique connection from the top of one's body to the bottom of it. So, anyways, as we continue on with the story here, let me check. Yeah, we're just over. Okay, we're making some good time here. Let's see. I drew attention to the name of the book, which I won't share, and its racist connotations, unquote. Quote, just checked my inbox to find messages from all types of comic creators and YouTubers insulting me, telling me I will never make something so good and that I'm what's wrong with comics. Basically, Comicsgate want to blackball my company, unquote, Apex Comics. Um, from the looks of it, I think you're the one who's actually picking the fight, Apex. Okay? From at least the looks of it, it looks more like you're the one trying to pick the fight, not them. You're basically pulling what a lot of SJWs here in the States have been pulling. They concluded, quote, it is what it is. We don't want racist fans and we don't want to work with racist companies, unquote. So basically Apex doesn't want to make money. They wanna go woke and go broke. Oh. See what happens. See how much money you start to lose. The official description for Thin Blue Line states, quote, in the middle of a long hot summer, a cop shoots a suspect and the incident makes the national news. Cities across the country quickly erupt into violence and well organized activist groups mix in with opportunists and provocateurs who begin to riot, loot, burn, and kill. Unquote. Now, for those for those of you who are anime fans, from what this sounds like a bit here and what was going on, riots and stuff like that, what it kind of reminds me of part of the arc in I think it was towards the end of the ending of the first season of trying to think now, what is it? Project Arms. Like towards the end of the first season of Project Arms, what was happening, what they were talking about with that. Sounds a lot like what's been going on the done um abscess. uh, uh double abscess. Well, that's one. I guess that's one way of putting it. Anyways, all right. Uh, quote: Thin blue line. Okay, let's see. Quote: Thin blue line follows police officer Valeria Baca and her partner Bob Mack as their detail guarding the mayor turns into a fight for survival. Mobs burn down City Hall. Sound familiar? Forcing the officers to improvise on the run, relying only on their training and wits as the mayor's protestations and eagerness to placate the rioters prove fruitless. Unquote. It concludes. Yeah, a lot of these people who would placate the rioters are just asking for trouble. You might as well strip. They might as well strip and put a little note on their body that says, "Abuse me, please." Aaron's Thin Blue Line earned $47,601 from 935 backers on Indiegogo. On Kickstarter, the book has been backed by 386 backers to the tune of 29,462. You plan on backing in Blue Line? Well, I've shared it, so um, hoping to get the word out there. There we go with that one. So yeah, we're like 2/3 of the way through the articles already. Let's see. Uh, any company, if it wants to survive, will pander to the audience, and they will thrive. Those who snub the audience fail and sell out. People forget to follow the rules of a question um, worth any latinum. Yeah. Let's see. Laugh out loud. No one ever asked me to abuse them. Laugh out loud. If only. Laugh out loud. Yeah. Interesting point of view there. Toys. All right, so let's see now. So let's move on to the next article here. Another one from earlier today. Donnie Cates, and apparently he. I know Tug, and I don't think this was. I guess apparently he got such backlash on something recently that he's closed off his. He's basically um, deleted his Twitter account. I know Tug was talking about that on one of his videos earlier today. Donnie Cates and Marvel doubled down on retcon of Thor's Mjolnir, depicted as a female energy being. Article by John F. Trent, published earlier today. So here we go. Marvel Comics writer Donnie Cates, alongside associate editors Caitlin Linvet and Alana Smith, retconned Thor's famous Mjolnir in the latest issues of his run on Thor. In Marvel Comics, Thor, wielding his hammer, debuted in Journey into Mystery number 83 back in 1962. So that was 60 years ago today, or 60 years ago. In that issue, written by Stan Lee and Larry Lieber, with art by Don Heck, Jack Kirby, and Steve Ditko, Dr. Donald Blake is transformed into Thor after he discovers an ancient cane. He discovers the cane after fleeing a cave following his discovery of the arrival of a number of alien rock creatures. The cane transforms into Mjolnir and then transforms him into Thor. Yes, here's 1962. This is like this, as I recall. Let's see, I'm trying to remember. I believe this was actually 4 years before the Marvel superheroes debuted on TV, as published by Grantway Lawrence. Wow, what a turnover there! That was a pretty quick turnover, I believe. The inscription on the hammer read, quote, "Whosoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor." In Thor Annual number 11 by Alan Zelenetz, Mjolnir is commissioned by Odin as one of three treasures to be finer than Odin's spear Gungnir. One of the dwarves tells Odin, quote, "Now by your leave, a gift unlike any in all the realm, the hammer Mjolnir, um, forged of mystic Uru metal. It is a quinique weapon. Um, it is a maybe it was supposed to say it is a unique weapon because I don't. It looks like a typo right there. It's a unique weapon of matchless strength, my lord, and invulnerable to destruction." Unquote. Odin would then add his own enchantments to the hammer, saying, quote, "To Mjolnir's natural properties, I shall add my own divine enchantment. Henceforth, no one shall be able to wield this hammer lest he be worthy, and ever shall his mallet return, to his hand, to the hands of him who holds it. Um, and ever shall a thunderous storm and the very elements on high respond to Mjolnir's summons." This origin would be slightly altered in 2004 by Michael Avon Owning and Daniel Bergman. When Michael Avon Owning and Daniel Bergman told their version of the creation of Mjolnir in Thor number 80. The book states, quote, "Odin sought out the great dwarf craftsman um, Etri, Eltri, to make the hammer Mjolnir. Etri, Eitri, used the heart of a son to forge and mold, with which he birthed Mjolnir, greatest weapon of all time. His creation is a work blessed with magic, blessed by Odin power." Unquote. This is from the Thor number 80 from back in 2004. This history, along with the hammer's original inscription, would be altered by Jason Aaron when he turned Jane Foster into Thor. First, the hammer's inscription was changed. Aaron changed it to read, "Whosoever holds the hammer, if she be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor." So obviously, Jason Aaron is another one of these SJWs. Let's see. I'm lurking. All right. Well, as long as you're still here, man, it's cool. Hope everybody's still enjoying the content. Um, Thor number 1 from in 2014. Aaron would continue to alter Mjolnir's history in his The Mighty Thor series. In The Mighty Thor number 12, Foster visits Omnipotent City, where the Lord High Librarian tells her, quote, "Many different tales have been told about how that hammer of yours first came to be. Some say Odin had it forged as a gift for his young son. Others say the Allfather wielded it himself." Another grammatical error. As I think it should say wielded it, not the himself. Many centuries before Thor was even born. Unquote. Quote, "The tales always mention the dwarven forges and the mystical enchantment, and the unbreakable Uru. Um, but one very important element of the Hammer story has been forgotten: the storm, quote, he asserts. The book then tells of a battle between Odin and the god Tempest, the mother of thunder, described as a sentient superstorm. Eventually, Odin defeats the storm, trapping it within a piece of pure Uru that had been gifted to him by the dwarves of Nidavellir. All right. So basically, what they're saying is they essentially trapped the Mother of Thunder in the main part of Thor's hammer, which is how the hammer is powered. That seems to be where they're going with this. After trapping the being in the stone, he tasked the dwarves to craft him a weapon, which they do. Upon attempting to take up the weapon, the storm takes Odin for a ride, almost destroying all of Asgard. In order to safeguard the weapon, Odin placed enchantments on it. Or number 12. The Lord High Librarian would tell Foster he believed the storm had finally died, but nevertheless, the hammer appeared to be acting of its own free will, sending Foster crashing out of omnipotent city into space. Not only would the hammer charge into space without Foster wanting to do so, but she also claims the hammer spoke to her. Now, in Danny Kate's most recent issue of Thor number 20, it is revealed the storm is still alive and is now calling itself the God of Hammers, as well as Mjolnir. It has also taken on the shape of a woman that can wield itself. Oh, so now they're basically making the hammer able to materialize a being to wield it rather than having an actual being wield it. All right. That's kind of a stretch there, my friend, but whatever. Ah, that's even for I think a lot of comic book fans, a lot of superhero fans, I think that's a bit of a stretch. Not only does it take on the shape of a woman, but it's also been going across the stars, destroying everything in its path, including Nidavellir, Jotunheim, and the town of Broxton. Actually, it sounds like a vengeful hammer, I would say. What do you make of Donny Cates and Marvel Comics doubling down on Jason Aaron's retcon Mjolnir? Yeah, just more SJW garbage that's probably not going to sell as much as they think. Probably what it's going to boil down to. Anyways, let's see. All right. So as we continue on, see, and I hope everybody's enjoying the content. Yeah, so we're coming down to the last story here. We're coming up on an hour and a half, so we getting through this pretty soon here. So anyway, so this is the last main story of the night, which of course involves comic books, celebrity, television, and movies. Right? Um, And even when I was reading this, I'm not even sure how to interpret this. Disney CEO touts company's quote unique ability to inspire to impact culture unquote. Last year, that impact included the promotion of racism and disordered behavior. All right, so this article was published earlier today by John F. Trent. Let's see what John F. Trent is getting at here, because was this a was this an actual okay unique ability to impact culture was the quoted part. So was this is this John's opinion of what he did? But anyways, let's take a look at this. Disney's CEO Bob Chapek um, touted the company's unique ability to impact culture, quote unquote, as he laid out his plans and priorities for the company for 2022. And here's a picture of some people involved. So the chairman of Disney Studios Content, Alan Bergman, producer, president of Marvel Studios, and chief creative officer, left to right here, Kevin Feige, and CEO of Walt Disney Company, Bob Chapek, attend the Black Widow world premiere. Fan of it. So this is from the Black Widow event. So from left to right there, you got Alan Bergman, who is the chairman of Disney Studios Content. In the middle there, you got Kevin Feige, who is a producer and president of Marvel Studios and chief creative officer. And you have Bob Chapek at the right there, the bald-headed guy at the at the right, who's in there. So, in a memo sent to Disney employees obtained by Deadline, Chapek thanks Disney employees for their quote talent, dedication, and optimism during the most disruptive time in our country's history. Thanks to you, we are weathering the pandemic and emerging stronger than ever, unquote. He continued, quote, over the last 2 years, we continued to tell the world's best stories, reorganized and accelerated our transformation to better serve audiences and guests. No. We looked inward during a time of social disruption, saw how much was left to do, and made significant change. Unquote. All right, so here's another picture here. Bob Chapek, Alan Horn, director, screenwriter Chloe Zhao, and Alan Bergman posed at the premiere of Marvel Studios' Eternals in Hollywood from Monday, October 18, 2021. Chapek then laid out the 3 steps he believes will, quote, set the stage for our second century and ensure Disney's next 100 years are as successful as our first, unquote. Those 3 pillars are storytelling excellence, innovation, and relentless focus on our audience. Really? Wonder how he interprets that. And here's a picture of Bob Chapek, Alan Bergman, Angelina Jolie, Alan Horn right there. Oh boy, that dress slips down any further, we're gonna get a very interesting sight, I believe. See where the see where her dress is there? I mean, you can barely see the straps holding it up. It seems, you know, that thing's. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody could just come along, just yank it down. All right. So, anyways, as we continue on, as always, of course, I do appreciate any and all likes and shares, so we can get some more friendly people in here. Um, with storytelling excellence, Chapek says, "quote What makes Disney so unique is that the stories we tell mean something to people. They inspire, give hope, bring us together, illuminate the world around us, and create memories." Unquote. This has not been the case in recent years. as Disney products have divided people more than ever, especially with their bigger intellectual properties like Star Wars and Marvel Entertainment, which is true because we've been seeing that and seeing how the get woke, the go woke, go broke, or go woke, get broke, or whatever, get woke, get broke aspect has been coming through. Star Wars: The Last Jedi solidified a rift in the fan base when director Ryan Johnson decided to lampoon critics of the film, not to mention how the entire film destroyed multiple characters and radically altered fundamental aspects of the Force. They doubled down on the rift by firing Gina Carano from The Mandalorian. With Marvel, the company uses Hispanic racial slurs to promote their characters in order to push social engineering and pillage an entire language. And what I believe they're talking about with that statement is that whole use of the word Latinx or whatever. That I think is what they're talking about there. They've also admitted to making decisions about characters and their stories purely based on their identity, such as the case of Doctor Strange being cut from WandaVision because he was white and male. Cara Dune, Gina Carano, and Lucasfilm's The Mandalorian. So there's a shot of Gina Carano and The Mandalorian right there. Despite the evidence to the contrary, Chapek continued, quote, "That is Disney magic." Yeah, very much the contrary. I don't think Walt Disney envisioned all this garbage. Uh-uh. And we must continue to set the creative bar higher and higher to that end. And in addition to all my other creative meetings, I am establishing a new standing monthly meeting with our senior creative leaders to discuss the opportunities we face as a storytelling enterprise. Quote, this will encourage collaboration, sharing of best practices, and stimulate cross studio ideation, um, unquote, he concluded. I guess this is from Loki, left or right. Loki, Tom Huddleston, and Sophia Di Martino in Marvel Studios Loki, exclusively on Disney Plus. Photo by Chuck Zlotnick. For the second pillar, innovation, Chapek wrote, quote, since Steamboat Willie, for those of you who may not know what Steamboat Willie was, that was the very first Disney cartoon. We have been the world's foremost innovative storytellers. That must continue as technology evolves, giving our creative teams new canvases like the metaverse on which to paint, unquote. Quote, we should be especially innovative as we seek to bring stories to life in new ways, particularly if they enhance what many call our, quote, franchise ecosystem, in smaller quotes, basically, which is one of the things that sets us apart, unquote, he stated. So here's from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. That's the that's the view from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. The classic. Finally, for the third pillar, relentless focus on our audience. Chapek said, quote, we are a big company with many constituents and stakeholders, all of whom have a piece in our decision. I don't know about that. But at the end of the day, our most important guide, our North Star, is the consumer. Unquote. He continued, quote, right now, their behavior tells us, our industry, that the way they want to experience entertainment is changing and changing fast. Thanks to technology and the pandemic, we must evolve with our audience, not work against them. Um, and so we will put them at the center of every decision we make. Oh yeah, I remember Civil War. Ask me about my feminist agenda. Yeah, I think we saw this before from Mockingbird number 8. Let's see. Chapek would then laud the company and its assets. Quote, when you look at the entertainment landscape, I believe Disney stands alone. We have the world's most creative storytelling engine, along with the world's most beloved brands and franchises, um, which we can bring to life in ways no one else can. Unquote. Quote, we have the portfolio of distribution platforms across the world, including powerful streaming services, with the ability to reach audiences anywhere, anytime, unquote, he continued. Chapek then stated, quote, we have the number one news organization and the most trusted brand. Yeah, right. Okay, yeah, okay. We bring people together and make magical memories that last a lifetime at our parks and on our cruise ships. Unquote. This is from The Force Awakens, that picture there. He then noted that as part of his vision for Disney, he wants to impact culture. Quote, we have a unique ability to impact culture and connect with people on deeply personal levels. And we have you, the best team in the business, unquote. Chatbit concluded the email, quote, I couldn't think of a better combination and I could not be more optimistic about our future. I look forward to setting the stage for our next century with all of you and to making the unique brand of magic that only Disney can. And here's Kathleen Kennedy speaking at 2015 San Diego Comic Con International for Star Wars The Force Awakens at the San Diego Convention Center in San Diego, California. Part of the impact appears to be the promotion of disordered behavior, as Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige has made it abundantly clear they plan to include and promote more homosexual characters in their stories. Kevin Feige promised in October at the red carpet premiere of Eternals, um, quote, there have been gay heroes before in the comics. It is more than past time in the movies, and it's just the start, unquote. Yeah, you're gonna cater to a very small portion of your audience, and you're gonna lose money fast, dude, doing that. And it's just the start. Eternals included the introduction of a character, Fastos, that had been warped from his comic book origins into a homosexual. So apparently, this one character, Fastos, in the comics may not have even been gay or homosexual, but they decided to make him homosexual. So they're orientation swapping here. All right. So from left to right here, Leah um, Leah McHugh, Sprite Leah McHugh, Droog, Barry Kohan, Kingo, Kumali uh, Nanjami, Fastos, Brian Tyree Henry. Um, so Fastos, I guess, is that big black guy in front there, if I had to take a wild guess. Karun, Harish Patel, Cersei, Gemma Chan, and Icarus, um, Richard Madden, in Marvel Comics Eternals. Italy was also exposed by independent journalist Christopher Rufo of promoting racism in the guise of critical race theory. And we've talked a lot about this over the past few months, how this has been infiltrating education and entertainment. In official Disney documents published by Rufo, Disney claimed that, quote, the murders of Breonna Taylor, Sean Reed, Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, Tony McDade, Nina Pop, Rayshard Brooks, Adam Adame Traore, and countless others are part of a long history of systemic racism and transphobia. They also instruct, quote, white and non black people, unquote, to, quote, examine and work through feelings of guilt, shame, and defensiveness to understand what is beneath them, what needs to be healed. I call bullshit on that myself. Excuse my French here, but I call BS on it. Bunch of traitorous, self-loathing individuals here. There's even a document that instructs them to, quote, not question or debate black colleagues' um, lived experiences. Instead, quote, white and non-black people, quote unquote, should, quote, acknowledge and listen with empathy when black colleagues share their lived experiences. Sorry. One of the modules even states, quote, equality is a noble goal. Equal treatment and access to opportunities help each of us perform our best within shared set of parameters. But we really need to be striving for equity where we focus on the equality of outcome, not the equality of the experience by taking individual needs and skills into account. No, equality is a good thing. Okay? Equality is a good thing. What do you make of Bob Chapek's claims to Disney employees? What kind of culture? Yeah, they're just full of it. That's what I think. They're basically full of it. Well, anyways, with that all being said, hopefully people are still here. Uh, Toys, I know you said you were lurking, so we're at an hour 44, so it's probably about a good time to start wrapping up here as we've coming down to the end of the show here. Um, Hopefully everybody's been enjoying the content tonight. We have, of course, one last segment as we always do. Um, let's see. If you guys are ready, we'll start to wrap up here. Are you guys ready for this day in Nietzsche history? You guys ready for this day in each history? Just saying it. All right. Well, with that being said, today is Monday, January the 10th, 2021. So why don't we go ahead and take a look back at this day in each history? And of course, Toy says, "Yay!" So let me see. Okay. All right. So first off, we're going to head back to 40 years ago today. On this date, back in 1982, the Nippon Animation anime Lucy May of the Southern Rainbow would premiere on Fuji TV on this date 40 years ago today. So on this date 40 years ago today, the historical drama anime Lucy May of the Southern Rainbow would premiere on Fuji TV. Let's see. This 1982 adaptation is part of the studio's popular World Masterpiece theater franchise, based on the 1982 novel Southern Rainbow by Australian writer Phyllis Piddington. Lived from 1910 to 2001, and tells the story of a young girl named Lucy and the hardships and excitement she and her family encounter when they move from England to Adelaide in Australia to start a farm. So, and the French was dubbed into numerous languages, just not English apparently. French, Italian, Arabic, Spanish, German, Korean, so and Persian. So this apparently had quite a bit of an appeal. You know, sounds like a pretty interesting story if it was dubbed into English. Only problem is that the English dub voice actors of today would most likely ruin it, trying to put some kind of SJW nonsense into it. But anyways, on this date, 40 years ago today, Lucy May of the Southern Rainbow, produced by Nippon Animation, would premiere on Fuji TV. Talking about the political stuff killed chat. Well, in a way, it can't be because, in a way, it couldn't necessarily be helped only because that's what the news articles were kind of reporting on too. You know, those were news items that did involve comic stories. I get what you're saying. Unfortunately, toys, you know, unfortunately, that's what's going on in the comic book industry right now. Is they are pushing politics, they are pushing agendas, and you're right. In a way, your statement's actually kind of a microcosm of what has actually been going on with the comic industry over the past couple of years here. This push of the agendas has killed, has been, you know, albeit a bit of a slow death, killing the industry. So, um, but again, it goes back to the point we were talking about earlier with the idea of get woke, go broke. It looks like we had some people at least coming back to view a bit here. But anyways, let me continue on with the history as we look back at times where look back to stuff when they weren't pushing agendas. All right. And back to some cool stuff where they weren't pushing agendas. So the next piece of history we're going to look at is going back 5 years ago today. Doing this a little bit in reverse order just because how things kind of work themselves out here in terms of the dating and stuff. Um, all right. So on this date, 5 years ago today, um, the animated children's television series We're Lalaloopsy um, premiered on Netflix. It was, of course, co-produced by MGA Entertainment, Splash Entertainment, and Netflix. It was based on a Nickelodeon series called Lalaloopsy. Um, so some people were saying it was kind of a revival of that television series, of the Nickelodeon series. So on this date, 5 years ago today on Netflix, um, We're Lalaloopsy premiered on this date 5 years ago today. And, well, 2017 is just so nice that we're going to hit it twice. As also on this date 5 years ago today, um, on this date 5 years ago today, SmackDown Live um, was being done from the Baton Rouge River Center in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. On this date 5 years ago today as well, WWE was producing, um, was having SmackDown Live from Baton Rouge River Center in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The main event of that show happened to be John Cena defeating Baron Corbin. Also happening on that show, the tag team of American Alpha, composed of Chad Gable and Jason Jordan, defeated the Wyatt family, Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton, to retain the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championships. In a dark match that happened after the show, Dean Ambrose retained the WWE Intercontinental Championship by defeating The Miz. So on this date, 5 years ago as well, WWE had SmackDown Live from the Baton Rouge River Center in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And now, to finish everything off here, one last piece of niche history here. On this date, 4 years ago today, back in 2018, the fifth and final issue of Life with Kevin from Archie Digital went on sale on this date on 4 years ago today. Sold for $1.99, was 24 pages. I guess, the digital comic. So on this date, 4 years ago today, the fifth and final issue of Life with Kevin from Archie Comics, through their digital comics production, went on sale on this date 4 years ago today, back on January 10th, 2018. So, with all that being said, guys, I thank everybody for being here tonight. And again, I do understand what you were saying there, Action, but what it shows you is that's why manga is kicking the you know what out of Western comics, because all the politics and all the agenda pushing are chasing people away. So it just goes to show you what, they really don't have a pulse on what fans really want, and will continue to suffer until they get a clue. So with that, guys, I thank you guys for being here. Hope to see everybody back here tomorrow night. Don't forget, this Friday, of course, we're doing our historical comic retrospect when we're looking back to when comics were great. This Friday, of course, I'll be having RJ Carter in as my special guest co-host, filling in for Batgoat. Hopefully by next week, Batgoat will be back with us, and I hope he had enjoyed his holidays. Had a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I hope everybody else done so as well. I hope everybody's having a good New Year thus far here in 2022. And until tomorrow, bye.